not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Let me move on to a different topic.
Senator, you were speaking. May I speak? You cut me off when I was speaking. When I ask you the next question, you can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi. Well, I'd like to answer the previous one, Senator.
When we met yesterday,
you pointed your finger at me and said you were speaking.
You did not seem to be familiar
let me answer my question. I'm not going to be bullied by you, Senator
the 14th Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you didn't want to hear my answer about
today after I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed as Attorney General...
You're the one asking for a confirmation vote,
you cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment we all know addresses birthright citizenship.
The answers he won't give are louder than the ones he does. In a Senate hearing meant to test independence, accountability, and respect for the Constitution, one simple question kept coming back: yes or no? And what followed wasn't clarification, it was avoidance. Tonight, we break down the moment that raised serious questions about truth, power, and who the law really serves.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I begin, I just want to remind us all for the record that the 34 convictions, not indictments, convictions of former President, incoming President Trump were by a jury of his peers. Thank you, Ms. Bondi, for being here today, and I too would like to welcome your family and friends who are here.
Thank you.
Appreciated the opportunity to meet yesterday to learn about your priorities and discuss a number of issues that are important to me. But I got to tell you, as I reflected on our conversation yesterday and as I've observed the hearing today, I continue to have significant reservations on your ability to function as a truly independent Attorney General for your friend. Let's say you keep referring to him, your friend, President-elect Trump. So I hope you can address some of these concerns through your responses to my questions here. Now, the first issue area is something that we didn't get a chance to touch on yesterday. So I actually want to follow up on some of Senator Durbin's questions from earlier about the 2020 election. And to be specific, on the day after the 2020 presidential general election, you traveled to Philadelphia to appear alongside President Trump's then attorney, Rudy Giuliani. And together, you falsely asserted that President Trump had, quote, won Pennsylvania in that election. And I want to be clear, at that moment, there were still at least 1 million ballots left to be counted in Pennsylvania. Of course, President Biden went on to win the state by more than 80,000 votes. But in the following days, even after the results were clear, you continued to double down on the big lie, promoting falsehoods about election fraud and cheating without offering any actual evidence. And I remember it clearly because I served as California Secretary of State at the time, and I invited anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator, I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate
I think
that.
all
My
of our,
clock is ticking, and I want to hear
all of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question. Do you have evidence, yes or no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have the evidence,
I
yes
traveled,
or no?
Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're not answering my question. If you have no evidence to offer, let me ask you this. Will you now retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, yes or no?
Oh, Senator, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and let me tell you what I saw firsthand.
Yes or
no? I didn't talk about California because I was not in California. I talked about...
Yes or no? Last time I'm going to ask.
I talked about Pennsylvania because I was there.
I'm going to move on because she's clearly not answering my questions. And I want to know, colleagues, for everybody, members of the committee and everybody watching, that the attorney who stood beside Mr. Giuliani was making very similar statements. And he has since been disbarred from multiple jurisdictions for making these false claims about the 2020 election in court. And like Mr. Giuliani, as you've noted today, you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution just as an attorney. And now you're asking us to consider you to serve as the chief law enforcement officer in our country. So it's imperative, Ms. Bondi, that you subscribe to facts and evidence and not politically convenient conspiracy theories. Your job will be, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Then we'll move on to a different topic.
Senator, you were speaking. May I speak? You cut me off when I was speaking. When I ask you the next question, you can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi. Well, I'd like to answer the previous one, Senator.
When we met yesterday,
you pointed your finger at me and said you were speaking. You did not seem to be familiar
let me answer
my question. I'm not going to be bullied by you, Senator
Padilla. The 14th Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you didn't want to hear my answer about Pennsylvania.
After I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am confirmed as Attorney General...
You're the one asking for a confirmation vote, ma'am.
Hey, you cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for today.
So on the 14th Amendment, now you've testified repeatedly to this committee that you will uphold the laws of this country and defend the Constitution of the United States. Do you believe birthright citizenship is the law of the land, and will you defend it regardless of a child born in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status?
Senator, I will study birthright citizenship. I would love to meet with you regarding birthright citizenship. Can I answer the question?
Serve as the Attorney General of the United States, and you still need to study the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? That is not helping me have more confidence in your ability to do this job. One other immigration-related question, I'll steer clear of the Constitution
I have one
and the
regarding
law.
that I'd like
Senator
to talk
Hirona
about.
asked you earlier, but I don't think you answered her question. Can you please tell us, do you agree with the statement that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, yes or no?
I did not say that.
I did not say that. You said that. I'm asking if you agree with it, yes or no.
I did not say that.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
My great-grandparents are immigrants.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
They came here from Sicily
through
Ellis Island when they were teenagers.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, let me answer the question.
Yes or no?
My great-grandparents came here, immigrated to this country from Sicily, recently went and found each of their birth certificates. We are a nation made up of immigrants. Do I believe immigrants are poisoning our country? No, Senator.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I can't wait for the second round.
Now let's cut through the noise and look at what the actual record reveals. What unfolded between Senator Alex Padilla and Pam Bondi was not a partisan shouting match. It was a textbook examination of credibility under pressure. Padilla begins by grounding the hearing in fact. He reminds the room that Donald Trump's 34 convictions were not accusations, not indictments, but jury verdicts delivered by citizens. That framing matters because it establishes a baseline. Facts are not optional in this role. From there, Padilla moves to the core concern, independence. The question isn't whether Bondi knows the law. It's whether she can enforce it without loyalty to a political ally. He explicitly frames her as a friend of the president-elect, and that word choice is deliberate. Attorneys general do not serve friends. They serve the Constitution. The first critical test comes with the 2020 election. Padilla cites Bondi's appearance in Pennsylvania alongside Rudy Giuliani, where she publicly claimed Trump had won the state, despite over 1 million ballots still uncounted. He notes that even after the final results were clear, those claims continued. Importantly, Padilla doesn't editorialize, he asks for evidence. And this is where the exchange turns. A yes or no question should take seconds. Instead, it stretches into minutes. Bondi never says yes. She never says no. She never presents evidence. Instead, she pivots, to sympathy, to personal presence, to what she saw firsthand. But observation is not proof, and presence is not evidence. Padilla, a former Secretary of State, reinforces that distinction by reminding viewers that for 4 years, no credible evidence of widespread fraud has ever been produced. This matters because the Attorney General's power is immense. If that office operates on belief rather than proof, the rule of law erodes. Padilla then raises the stakes by drawing a direct comparison to Rudy Giuliani, a lawyer who made similar claims and was later disbarred for advancing them in court without evidence. The implication is clear but unstated: words have consequences in law. Next comes the constitutional test. Padilla asks about the 14th Amendment, not obscure legal theory, but its core citizenship clause. Bondi's response is revealing. She does not explain it. She does not affirm it. She says she needs to study it. For someone seeking to become the nation's chief law enforcement officer, that hesitation lands hard. Padilla calls it out directly, stating that uncertainty about birthright citizenship does not inspire confidence. Then comes the moral test. Padilla asks whether Bondi agrees with the statement that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. He makes clear he is not accusing her of saying it, only asking whether she agrees with it. Again, the answer is delayed. Bondi references her immigrant ancestors. She speaks emotionally about her family's journey. And finally, only after repeated prompting, she says no. The substance of the answer matters. But so does the delay. Because leadership under oath requires clarity, not storytelling. What this exchange ultimately reveals is not hostility, it's avoidance. Padilla isn't trying to trap Bondi. He's testing whether she will commit to evidence over narrative, law over loyalty, and clarity over convenience. And in moment after moment, on elections, on constitutional law, on immigration rhetoric, the answers either didn't come or came only after pressure. That's why this hearing matters. Not because of raised voices or interruptions, but because the American public can see when a simple question doesn't get a simple answer. And when someone seeking the highest law enforcement position in the country avoids clarity, the silence becomes the loudest statement of all.